Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Fly With Us podcast. This podcast is bringing the art of conversation, self love, self care, mental health care and protection, life lessons, love lessons, and everything in between. Today, we're going to talk about getting your affairs in order. I'm Lady Bounce.
I'm Kryptonite, child.
All right, so you and I have both just experienced a really tragic loss, and
You say that so you're like, we've experienced a tragic loss.
I mean, I don't
Like,
know. It's
no, I'm just saying. I just found it funny.
I'm sorry. It's
You
I
ain't
think
gotta apologize. You being professional.
I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying to be professional because if I think about it too hard, then it sends me
Yeah,
somewhere
the
else.
waterworks get to going. Don't nobody need to see us cry. I look ugly enough without being all contorted and jacked up in the face because I'm tearing up.
Right. So for those of you who don't know, Kryptonite and I lost our father last week to COVID and its complications, which is crazy. So before I say anything else, wear a mask. It is very real. Protect yourself. Protect the people around you. Please. It is that
Most
serious.
definitely. Most definitely.
All right. So before I start crying. All right. So our mindfulness minute for this week.
And vote the orange. Ain't no spasm out of office. That's another thing too. Vote him out. All right.
All right. So our mindfulness minute at the hour of death. I look directly at my mortal condition and I prioritize those things that I most want to do in life. I spend my days loving as much as possible, knowing that I may not pass this way again. No one ever says on their deathbed, I wish I had worked harder. Instead, people tend to think about their family and friends at the end of life. They tend to think about how they might have expressed themselves better or pursued some deferred dream. We might not be near death right now, but no one really knows when that time will come. It is probably impossible to be completely prepared, but we can start by making a choice to live fully at this moment, to stop deferring those things that we might have done. When you die, what do you want people to say about you at your funeral? If you could make a list of adjectives that you would want people to use about you, what would they be? If someone were writing your eulogy, how would you want them to finish the sentence? I remember that time when he or she, without excessive striving, see if you can be a little more like that person you described. So, with that being said, and being that person that you want to describe, let's talk about, you know, getting those affairs in order, getting that stuff together. What do you think?
It's most definitely something that you need to do. We are it's really simple as going to your doctor and letting your doctor want to write a living will and at least get a living will in place. It is very important that you discuss what you want your services to be like. If you want a funeral, if you want a cremation, if whatever it is that you feel like you want to do, let your people know something. Let them know something because it's some BS not knowing. It's not through. You gotta search for stuff and look for this and that. Get your affairs need to be in order. Let your people know what your policies are, life insurance policies, and whatever else needs to be done. Make sure. And as women, I don't know if there's any woman that's out there nowadays that's just being guided blindly through life by their spouse. I know it's a lot of old school people, but we're not. We're not old school, and these are a different time. And so, are you on that bank account? Is your name on the deed? Do you know of all of the assets? Do you know of all of the policies? Are you aware of the everything that you need to be aware of? If something does happen to your spouse that you are taking care of, or that you have the money and the resources that you need in order to sustain yourself during the event of their death, in the event of their death. Especially if you're not working or if you're older and up in years and there's bills to be paid. You gotta, just things you gotta know.
And you know, you talk about things you have to know as a spouse. I also think that if you have children, you should have those conversations with your children, because
Most definitely.
in the event that something happens to you and your spouse at the same time, where do your children start? Like, where would they even begin to look for things? Where would they find these important, you know, paperwork and policies? You've had people who, you know, retire from jobs and then they retire from another job, so there's pensions involved and there's, you know, retirement money, you know, tied up into that person and their account. So you have to have these conversations. And I know that nobody wants to have these conversations. Nobody wants to talk about death. Nobody wants to talk about their, you know, mortality. But the fact of the matter is, when you don't have those conversations and you have a lot of kids, you end up with a lot of problems and a lot of confusion, a lot of hurt feelings, you know, and you're basing things on conversations that you had with the person, but somebody else had a different conversation. You know,
and yeah, and that's another thing too. Everybody got to be on the same page about stuff. You can't promise one thing to one person and then say, well, okay, I'm going to do this for you. You know what I'm saying? Everybody really, for real, while a person is still alive, needs to have the conversation of, okay, well, listen, I am really interested in this. Should you pass, I would like to have this as in remembrance of you, or I would like to do, you know what I'm saying? And if things are to be split up, like, everybody should be in on that. Everybody should know that. Everybody should know what the plan is. Everybody should have some idea. Or if you express an interest in something, and it should be addressed, you know. And I don't think people, I mean, you know, I know we didn't really think about any of that stuff, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, we should have, you know.
Yeah, because we were naive in our thinking in a lot of ways that, you know, our parents would live forever, you know?
No.
I mean, I don't know. I know that they're not going to live forever, but we're all under the impression that, well, it ain't going to be today. We got time. We got time to think about it. We got time to worry about it.
I think there's a lot of that, and there's also a lot of, well, they took care of it. But no, like, just because they are up in age doesn't mean that they took care of anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you need to know, you need to press it, and you need to ask. And if they want to be stubborn or refuse to talk about it, or they don't want to think about it, then okay, we about to go do this. Like, cause you can do a living will on your own. You can, if I'm not mistaken, you can download the papers off the internet.
Yes.
So you can have that conversation. You don't have to have a lawyer involved or anything like that. But now, if a person passes away and y'all haven't had that conversation and you don't have no papers, you gonna find there's gonna be plenty of lawyers involved.
Right. And nobody wants that. You know, I would dare say that there isn't anybody who has ever passed away who wanted to leave a quote unquote mess, or, you know, wanted to leave it where lawyers will have to get involved. So it's really important, you know, like we've been saying, to just have these conversations. So there's a book that Amazon sells for $13, and it's called the Peace of Mind Planner. In that book, you can write down all of your plans. You can, you know, from what you want to wear at your funeral, what songs you want sung, where can somebody find the passwords to shut down your digital accounts, which is something else that we don't think about. You know, you have your email address, you have a Facebook, you have a this, you have a that. All of those accounts have to be closed out. You have a cell phone that has to be turned off. So,
and see, and that stuff is new. Like, that's new right there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Who was really doing that before a cell phone came out?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Before computers was really anything to have in your household, like, it's dang near mandatory, like a TV or a telephone. You know what I'm saying? Like, who was, nobody was really thinking about that. And that's something to think about. That's like a whole new set of laws and a whole new situation that you're dealing with on top of, you know what I'm saying, of not knowing or finding things out and that type of stuff. So and then I mean, you find out too in the event of somebody's death that people that you've known your whole life are complete strangers.
Yes.
They get to acting brand new. They get to acting funny. Issues and stuff come out, and some people, some of them, they just that monster just gets unleashed because that one person was able to tame them that whole time, but now they gone. It's on and crack.
Yeah. I know we experienced that when our grandmother passed. So she did have her affairs in order to a point, but there's a website called freewill.com where you can make a will online. You can print the papers. It's all free, and they suggest that you update your will every 5 years. And then says the older you are, you should update your will every 2 to 3 years. And I say that because when grandma passed away, before she passed, she had promised her elephant collection to Amira, but she never put it in writing. So when she passed away, her elephant collection was given away and farmed out to basically first come, first serve. Whoever came and said they wanted it, they got it. And while to some it may not be a big deal, but to my daughter, it was everything. And she was crushed not having her elephant collection that she was promised. She's named after grandma and they had a really close relationship. So she was looking forward to having that piece of grandma for forever. So for her to not have it because it wasn't put in writing, it was devastating. So you have to do more than just have a will. You have to make sure it's updated frequently.
And there are some situations where people just, because if you got it in writing, then you can sue somebody for giving away something that rightfully belongs to you. And basically that's what it comes down to. Because you have people that don't care about what someone said while they were alive. They're going to do what they want to do now that that person is passed. So if something is put in writing, then this is a document. It's a legal document. It says right here that that's mine. So the fact that you gave it away is like you stole it. So you either need to get my stuff back or pay me.
Yeah. Give my stuff back or pay me. That's the best.
Yeah, you get my stuff back because it says right here that she said this is promised to me. So you either go get my stuff back or you pay me.
Yeah. I mean, I wholeheartedly agree, because for my daughter, it was the sentimental value of it all. And so for it to just be like callously given away, that hurt. So even if she had the money value for the collection, that's not what she wants. You know what I mean? Like the money, it would be okay, but she don't want that.
And that's understood. But you need to find a way to at least attempt to make me whole.
Right.
It's like any other business transaction. You violated this with your actions. You're a third party that didn't have anything to do with this. So you coming in doing this is a violation. You have to do whatever you need to do to make me whole. So you either go find my stuff, which would make me whole. But if you can't find my stuff, well then you're gonna have to pay me then. I mean, like, I just feel like, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. I'm pretty sure you can take somebody to court for that. I mean, they do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if it's in writing, but if it's not in writing, then it's just a conversation.
Oh yeah, it's he say, she say, hearsay with all that stuff. But we got we do have to be more proactive in the planning of our elderly arrangements for funerals and afterlife or whatever the case may be. Because we are the ones that's going to be left with those things. We're the ones that's going to be left holding that bag per se, and it's really hard to scrape up the pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, and especially if you got a whole lot of hands trying to pick up the same piece, it can be quite a mess. So yeah, like we do our stuff a disservice, not taking care of those things, not acknowledging those things, not thinking about those things, even in, the prime of our life, the later years of our life. And we are to the point now, and me, especially me being older, whatever, that these are things that need to be considered, that need to be thought about. You have to think about these things because there are people that's going to be here after you. And if you owe somebody some money, they don't really care who they get it from as long as they get it.
Absolutely. Jay and I have a living will kit, and we've been talking about, we need to fill those papers out. We need to do this. And, here we are, the second death that we have experienced this year, that's close to us. We're like, okay, we're going to sit down and we're going to do this together. We're going to, fill these papers out, make sure that the kids know, where they are. Thankfully, we only have 2 children. So it's not a lot of kids to, quote unquote, fight over stuff or separate a lot of stuff. It is only 2 of them. Unlike, in our family, there's 8 of us. And we all want a piece of our father, and trying to decide who gets what piece and how. It's rough without, a fully out written plan. So we definitely want to make sure that we don't leave that kind of a burden to our children. That they're going to know, where to find these papers. We're going to, talk to them about what our plans are, for our end of life care.
Yeah.
For both of us. That way there's no question, there's no, well, what if, and well, I don't know if daddy would have liked this or mama would have liked that. We definitely, because we're planners by nature. You plan out going to get your nails done, you plan going to get your hair done, you plan maintenance for your car. Why don't you
make a 5-year plan?
Right, you make a 5-year plan. Life. You plan out a wedding. You spend 5-6 years paying for your dream wedding. Why not spend 5 or 6 years paying for your end of life care, your end of life expenses, so you don't leave that burden to your loved ones? There's a billion commercials out there for companies that do that, for either insurance or afterlife care, end of life care. So there's really no reason why we're not doing these things. I get that the conversation is difficult to have. Nobody wants to talk about death. It's so bad. It's almost like if I talk about it, then I'm bringing it on. But you're really not. What you're doing is the best form of love and self-care is you're making sure that however you want to exit this world, it's going to be done the way you want, the way you wish it to be, in a way that makes it easier for everybody to properly mourn. Because you can't properly mourn the loss of a person when you're busy trying to figure out how, the logistics of everything and how to get this person to a final resting place. You can't properly mourn because you're too busy worrying about the business aspect of the death. So it doesn't even give you a chance to really process the fact that this person is gone, because you're too busy trying to figure out this other piece. So the best thing you can do for your family is definitely get that stuff done, as soon as possible. And then, tuck it away somewhere, get a, what do you call it? A fireproof safe, and stick it in there. Tell somebody where it is, tell them how to access it, simple type stuff.
And it really is simple. It really is as simple as filling out a piece of paper and having a conversation. It really is just that simple. And then, then it cuts out on all the bickering and all the BS that comes after a person has passed away. And then again, people still gonna be people. They gonna argue, they gonna fight, whatever. But as long as the big stuff is taken care of, as long as the that we know what's gonna happen with the house, we know what's gonna happen with bank accounts, we know what's gonna happen with cars and policies and this and you know what I'm saying? Just that stuff that just, like you said, the business aspect of it, where somebody else is going to be responsible for making a payment on something, or paying something off because of whatever affairs wasn't taken care of beforehand.
Absolutely. So me and Jay, like I said, we were talking about that. So we both have, because I'm an educator in the state of Ohio, I have a policy, that is given to me by the state, because I'm a part of the Ohio Education Association. And so he knows I have this policy, but then I thought about it. He doesn't know how to access it. He doesn't know who he's supposed to call to say, hey, she has passed. What do I need to do to, get this or get that? So, while he knows I have these things, if he doesn't know how to get them, then it, again, that's something we have to plan for. We have to process for that. And Social Security is a thing, and there is a death benefit. But if you don't know how to access it, then it's just something that's there, for no reason that you know nothing about.
Yeah. So, it's just a good thing to do. You know what I'm saying? It's a good thing for you to do for yourself. It's most definitely something that should be done if you're dealing with your parents or somebody elderly. But for sure, like, we can't just sit around thinking that we're invincible and that that it won't happen to us, or, you know what I'm saying? We got plenty of time because nobody's promised anything. So, yeah, the best thing to do is, you got to let these things be known, let people know what accounts they can access. If you got a life insurance policy, who it's with, you know what I'm saying? Who's the beneficiary? Right. All of that stuff. It all matters.
And the biggest.
I'm about to go through that stuff right now that we talking about it. I just thought about it. I got to renew all of that stuff for my job.
See? So while you're at it, go to freewill.com and make you out a will. Get that book from Amazon, and write out your wishes in it, and make sure, your children or somebody knows where it is. Definitely. It is, it's the best way to make sure that your family is taken care of, And
it is. And I mean, and it's also in the effort to cut down on the drama and stress.
Yes.
That's going to come along with already having to plan a funeral and deal with the loss of a loved one.
Absolutely. All right. So as we get ready to wrap this up, our self-care assignment for this week: take the burden away from your loved ones by making a will. There are a number of free websites to help you get started. So I gave you one. We all have the same internet. So do a Google search if you don't like the website that I gave you, where you can, do it online, print the papers out. In the state of Ohio, you do not have to have the papers notarized. You just have to have 2 witnesses' signatures. But if you want to go a step further in making it a solid legal document, go on and spend the $2 and have it notarized. It can't hurt.
It's $1 at the credit union.
Okay, $1 at the credit union. That's even better.
I'm saying.
But go ahead and get it notarized. You don't have to have a lawyer to do that. That is something simple, something simple and doable. So let me pull up our brain science real quick. All right, so for our brain science for this week, proper planning eases the burden of estate settlement. So estate settlement should be as straightforward and as non-disruptive as possible for your family. Proper planning can make estate settlement a smooth process for all concerned by ensuring that all legal and tax requirements are met. Having a current will in place is a critical first step and will ensure that your wishes are carried out as you intend. Serving as executive can be complicated and time-consuming, so it's important that you name someone who is able and willing to take on this responsibility. The days and weeks following your death or the death of a loved one can be a difficult time, especially when it comes to settling the estate of the deceased. Proper planning, however, can make estate settlement a smooth process for all concerned by ensuring that your wishes are carried out. The cornerstone of any estate plan is a will. Nearly everyone knows this, of course, but they put off drafting a will because they believe it will be too expensive or will make them feel uncomfortable. However, not having a will may cost you money in the end and make it harder to work through the estate settlement process. If you die without a will, the state will step in to dispose of your assets, a prospect that many of us would not welcome. So, when it comes to choosing the right executor, as part of your will drafting process, you will have to choose an executor. This is a critical decision since the executor is responsible for seeing that the estate is settled in accordance with the wishes of the deceased. Serving as an executor is a complex and time-consuming responsibility. Tax regulations and other laws affecting estate planning are subject to frequent change, and many executors come to learn that they have neither the time nor the expertise to keep abreast of such changes. As a result, it may be beneficial to name a corporate fiduciary as executor or co-executor of your estate. So, in your will, of course, you will be outlining your assets, what you own, what tax liens you may have, and other outstanding bills and creditors. So it's not just about your stuff and where you want your stuff to go. It's about shoring up those leftover bills and how to, bring them to a close, which is very important. So estate settlement should be as straightforward and as non-disruptive as possible to your family. So with the right planning, it could be a smooth and easy process. Follow our tips. Follow us on our social media outlets. As always, you can email us at flywithusla@gmail.com. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. I'm Lady Bounce.
I'm Kryptonite, y'all. Listen, whatever little beefs you might have with your people, let it go. Because nothing is promised, and we only get one sibling. Well, you might have a couple of siblings, but just do your part, because not everybody is going to be accepting of that olive branch, but that doesn't matter. As long as you look at whoever it is you mad at and just be like, whatever you going through, in spite of what you may feel that I feel about you, I'm telling you right now, standing here, that I love you. And let that be that. And if that's all you get, or if that's all you do, and you don't ever speak another word, you did your part. And you don't have to have any regrets about, well, maybe this, or maybe don't have any regrets. Say your piece and clear your conscience and clear your mind and live at peace.
I like that. That was all right.
Well, thank you very much.
Settle the petty beefs. Get your affairs in order. Let
it go. And you'll live life, and your life will be a whole lot less stressful too. What's the point of you worrying about something you can't never change anyway?
There it is. All right.
But all right.
So with that, I'm Lady Bounce.
I'm Kryptonite, y'all.
And we out of here.
Peace.